My dear child, come closer. Sit by Grandpa. Tonight, I have a story that will chill the very marrow of your bones. You know, sometimes in the quiet places of the world, far from the noise and bustle of the city, there are secrets that the land keeps hidden. Secrets that whisper through the trees and drift over still waters in the dead of night. Secrets that should never be disturbed. Tonight's tale is one such secret. It's about the Lantern Lady of the Lake, a ghostly figure seen by fishermen in the mist, near a forgotten, cursed lake, where the waters seem to swallow more than just the sunlight. They say she appears with a lantern in her hand, her face pale and sorrowful, and that if you ever see her, you must look away and leave at once. For those who didn't well, they were never the same again. Before we venture deeper into this chilling story, my dear child, if you find yourself holding your breath, if your heart pounds with each word I speak, remember, your grandpa is here, and he brings these stories not just to frighten you, but to guide you, to teach you the wisdom to tread carefully in the shadowed corners of the world. And if you feel the warmth of my words reaching across the cold void of this tale, I would be honored if you'd subscribe to our little family here. It would mean so much to Grandpa if you also gave a gentle like to this video. It's like a warm hug in a cold night. Now let us begin. They called it Mirror Lake, a still, silver surface by day, but by night, it became a boiling misty cauldron, hiding things no sane man would dare to imagine. Locals warned strangers to stay away after sunset, but some, driven by greed, by pride, or by simple foolishness, ignored the warnings. Old men in the town of Willows End told tales in hushed voices of a woman dressed in tattered gray, holding a lantern that burned with the sickly green light. She would appear just beyond the reach of the boat's oars, her figure half veiled by the mist. Some said she would call out your name, even though you never spoke it aloud. Others said she simply stared, and that was somehow far worse. Decades ago, there was a fisherman named Thomas Brigg, a strong, stubborn man, respected for his skill but mocked for his skepticism. He believed no ghost could haunt a lake, no curse could cling to water. One October night, when the mist rolled in thick as wool, Thomas set out onto Mirror Lake to prove the stories false. The night grew colder than it should have. The stars blinked out one by one, and the mist thickened until the shoreline vanished from view. It was then that Thomas saw the light, a pale green glow, bobbing gently over the water. At first, he thought it was another fisherman, but no one else would be foolish enough to be out there. He called out, but there was no answer, only the mournful lapping of water against wood. The lantern came closer. Thomas, brave or foolish, rode toward it. As he drew near, he saw her, draped in sodden, filthy cloth, her hair hanging in wet strings over her face. Her eyes, when they lifted to meet his, were not angry, but infinitely, unbearably sad. He never made it back. The next morning, his boat was found drifting, empty except for his hat, floating inside it like a memorial offering. His body was never recovered. They said the Lantern Lady had claimed him, just as she had claimed others before him. But the story doesn't end there, my dear. Over the years, many tried to solve the mystery. Historians dug through dusty town records and discovered the sad origin of the Lantern Lady. Her name was Eleanor Price, a young woman who lived over a century ago, during the town's founding years. Eleanor had fallen in love with a sailor, a strong, kind man named Samuel Harker. They were to marry in the spring, but Samuel was called away by duty before the ceremony could take place. Every evening, Eleanor would walk down to the lake with a lantern in hand, hoping to see his ship return, hoping against hope he would come back to her. One stormy night, consumed by grief and despair, she waded into the black waters and vanished. Some say she slipped. Some say she chose to join him in death, believing the lake, might somehow bridge the gap between this world and the next. From that night forward, the Lantern Lady was seen by those who dared the lake at night, endlessly searching for her lost love. You might think it a romantic story, child, but listen closely to Grandpa's advice. Never think that all spirits are harmless. Even grief, when twisted by loneliness and centuries of sorrow, can become something dangerous, something hungry. One young man, a bold fool named Jeremy Cartwright, decided to film the Lantern Lady for fame and fortune. Armed with modern cameras and bravado, he set out onto Mirror Lake with his friends. They laughed and joked at first. Hours passed with no sight of her. Just when they decided to return, the green light appeared. Jeremy, against the frantic warnings of his companions, followed it. His footage, recovered later from a camera found half-sunken on the shore, shows the glowing light, the outline of the woman, and Jeremy's voice growing more and more frantic. The video ends abruptly, but not before capturing a terrible whisper. "Come with me." Jeremy was never found. Understand, child, the Lantern Lady is not merely a ghost. She is a wound upon the world, a sorrow so deep it has become a trap, pulling others into its endless pain. Local authorities, pressured by desperate families, placed warnings around Mirror Lake. No one heeded them. Curiosity, after all, is a powerful force, especially for the young and the reckless. But you, my dear child, you must be wiser. If you ever find yourself near an old misty lake, and the light begins to flicker where no light should be, turn away. Do not approach. Do not answer. Respect the grief of the dead, and guard your heart, for sorrow can drag you down just as surely as any weight tied to your ankles. Before we part tonight, remember, Grandpa tells you these stories not just to thrill or scare you, but to remind you. The world is wide and full of wonders, yes, but also dangers. Caution is not fear, my dear, it is wisdom. If tonight's tale sent a shiver down your spine, if you felt the sadness of Eleanor Price, if your heart ached for those lost souls, Grandpa humbly asks, please, subscribe to our family here. It means more than words can say. And if you would be so kind, leave a like on this video. It shows Grandpa that you're listening, that you're here, and that our little circle grows stronger with each story shared. Until next time, child, be safe. Keep the lanterns burning bright, but never chase the ones you find in the mist. Good night.